Good morning, dear students. So far we have covered two lectures, and today we are going to move into the third lecture, prerequisites and basic steps for organic farming, conversation to organic farming, planning and processes in practices, IFS approach, integration of animal components. This will be our today's topic. In the first lecture you have learned about the organic farming, right, and the fundamentals of that, history of organic farming. Even though I was repeating what is meant by organic farming, can anyone can say what is meant by organic farming? Yeah, organic farming system in India is not new and is being followed from ancient time, right? It is a method of farming system which primarily aimed at cultivating the land and raising crops in such a way as to keep the soil alive and in good health by use of organic waste. Organic waste will be coming from crop, animal and farm waste and aquatic waste. Okay, that all belongs to natural resources only, and other biological materials along with beneficial microbes, which is nothing but biofertilizers, to release nutrients to the crops for increased sustainable production in an eco-friendly, pollution-free environment. Okay, in simple we can say organic farm as chemical-free farming is nothing but organic farming. Yes. Okay, and FA also suggested that organic agriculture is a unique production management system which promotes and enhances agro-ecosystem health, including biodiversity, biological cycles and soil biological activity, and this is accomplished by using on-farm agronomic, biological and mechanical methods in exclusion of all synthetic farm inputs, so that excluding all these chemicals we are only including natural resources that comes from crop, animal and aquatic waste. Why we have to do organic farming? What was the need? Because, is there any idea about this, why we have to do only organic farming? You can give the answer if you know. Yeah, because it increases in as our increasing population, our compulsion would not be only to stabilize agriculture but to increase it further in sustainable manner. It was not the point that we are producing a huge lump sum amount of production at present time, and if you are using the chemicals continuously, the soil gets persistent and it will be deteriorated and it will not give any response to the inputs we are giving to that field. So that the scientists have realized that the green revolution with high input use has reached a plateau and is now sustained with diminishing return of falling in dividends. It means whatever the inputs we are giving, for that we are not giving any profits, but day by day the response of the fertilizers or inputs that we are giving in the chemical form reducing, so that there is a need of organic farming. Thus a natural balance needs to be maintained at all costs for existence of life and property. The obvious choice for that would be more relevant in the present era, when these agrochemicals which are produced from fossil fuel and are not renewable and are diminishing in availability, it may also cost heavily on our foreign exchange in future. So that there is a huge need of organic farming at present day. Okay, this organic farming includes some key characteristics. Let's see what were that. Protecting the long-term fertility of soils. The main characteristic of this organic farming is we are going to save the fertility level of the soil. We are going to increase the fertility of the soil, and by maintaining organic matter levels, encouraging soil biological activity and careful mechanical interventions. And next, providing crop nutrients indirectly using relatively insoluble nutrient resources which are made available to the plant by the action of soil microorganisms. Okay, we are going to provide crop nutrients indirectly with the action of microorganisms. This was the second point. First one, long term fertility You are going to maintain long-term fertility of soils. Second point, we are going to improve the crop nutrients indirectly with the action of soil microorganisms. And third one, nitrogen self-sufficiency through the use of legumes. And biological nitrogen fixation, which occur naturally, as well as effectively recycling of organic materials, including crop residues and livestock manures. We are not going to waste any of the farm inputs. Okay, it means byproducts which come from the farm and other resources that come from the crop, which the waste completely will be recycled and used in the farm. First point, long-term fertility. Second point, you are going to use as increase the crop nutrients with the help of soil microorganisms. And third one, nitrogen self-sufficiency through use of legumes. And fourth point, weed, disease and pest control, relying primarily on crop rotations, natural predators. You are going to control these weeds, diseases and pests through the implementation of crop rotations, natural predators, organic manuring, resistant varieties, in the place of using chemical fertilizers. Okay. And next point, the extensive management of livestock, paying full regard to their evolutionary adaptations, behavioral needs and animal welfare issues with respect to nutrition, housing, health, breeding and rearing. We are going to save the animal at livestock or any of the animals, extensive management and used in the is organic farming. And next one, careful attention to the impact of farming system on the wider environment and the conservation of wildlife and natural habitats. Okay, these were the key characteristics of organic farming. Next, now we are going to see some basic steps of organic farming. Suppose you are doing a conventional farming at present time. Okay, suppose you are a farmer and you used complete chemicals. If you want to turn that land into organic land, can you do it at possible time, within one time, at sudden? Can you do that? No one can change that, because we have used already a huge amount of chemicals in that area, and it will not be decomposable at a sudden. So that we have to change the conventional land into organic farming. Some basic steps are required. Let's see what were they, how we can turn that. First point is about conversion of land from conventional management to organic management. Okay, here you are going to convert the land from conventional to organic management. For this, you have to take the management practices and many trainings. For that, from the conventional to organic farming, it requires numerous changes. One of the biggest change is in the mindset of the farmer. You have to change first. Conventional approaches often involve the use of quick fix remedies that unfortunately or rarely addresses the cause of the problem. Transitioning farmers generally spend too much time worrying about replacing synthetic input with allowable organic product instead of considering management practices based on preventative strategies. Here are a few steps new entrants should follow when making the transition to organic farming. Okay, you have to understand, you have to attend many training programs belongs to organic farming. Second one, management of the entire surrounding system to ensure biodiversity and sustainability of the system. You have to clean the surroundings. Your surroundings also should be changed to organic farming. It means the land which will be present nearby fields will be completely already they were doing the conventional farming. Even though they do, that also affects your farm. So that you have to check your surroundings too. Ensure your biodiversity and sustainability of the system. And third one is about crop production with the use of alternative sources of nutrients such as crop rotations, residue management, organic manures and biological inputs. As I said before, you are going to follow the strategy of changing the synthetic chemicals. In that place we are going to replace with the organic crop rotation, some organical or natural products, or by using some preventative strategies like crop rotation, residue management, organic manures, and biological inputs. Next one is about management of weeds and pests by better management practices, physical and cultural means, and by biological control system. Okay, in this every farmer will use chemicals or fertilizers or pesticides to control the weeds and pests whenever they are huge in amount. In that place you are going to use natural predators and many of the preventative strategies. For example, organic pesticides are derived from naturally occurring sources, as I said before also. These include living organisms such as the bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis, which is used to control caterpillar pest, or plant derivatives such as pyrethrins. From the dried flower heads of chrysanthemum, we are going to extract these pyrethrins, or neem oil from the seeds of Azadirachta indica. Okay, you are going to use these in place of chemical pesticides or weedicides. You are going to use only organically occurring sources. Next one, maintenance of livestock in tandem with organic concept and make them an integral part of the entire system. You are going to use livestock including in this organic farming. Okay, now we are going to see about prerequisites and basic steps for organic farming. Yes, now we are going to start your organic farming. Do every farmer had awareness about organic farming? No, no. So that they have to attend some training programs for understanding what is organic farming, how we have to start that, what was the resources we have to use. For that they have to attend many of the training programs. Okay, first step is about understanding the basics of organic agriculture and the organic farming standards. Okay, for every production there will be a certain standards. If you're going to sell the products to the shopkeepers or anything, they will check the quality, right? It means even in organic farming there will be some standards. They have to reach that standards whenever they're going to produce this organic farming. Okay, here the transition from or conventional to organic farming requires numerous changes. Suppose if you are a farmer, assume you are a farmer. One of the biggest changes in the mindset of the farmer should be made. We have to change our mindset that we have to turn our land into organic farming. Okay, conventional approaches often involve the use of quick fix remedies that unfortunately rarely address the cause of the problem. Okay, as we have used these conventional practices by using of these chemicals, we'll be in that mind only. We cannot change the organic farming immediately, so we have to fix that in our mind that we are going to do organic farming. We have to control all the diseases or pests or weedicides or weeds or everything in the form of organic. It means with the help of organically based products. Transitioning farmers generally spend too much time worrying about replacing synthetic input with allowable organic product instead of considering management practices based on preventative strategies. Here are a few steps. It means you have to follow, which I am going to say. If you follow that, you can easily change that conventional farm to organic farming. Second one, identify resources that will help you. You have to identify. First, you have to understand the basics of organic agriculture and the standards of that. How you can understand that? By attending many training programs or by consulting already completed organic farming land or land owners. Okay, like that New entrants and transitional producers must become familiar with the sound and sustainable agricultural practices. Transitional producers should be prepared to read appropriate information, conduct their own trials, and participate in formal and informal training events. You have to attend. As mentioned, switching from conventional to organic farming is more than substituting synthetic materials to organic allowed materials only. Organic farming is a holistic system that relies on sound practices focused on preventative strategies. Since there are often few organic remedies available to organic producers for certain problems, prevention is the key element in organic production. We have to prevent. Keep in mind that after coming we cannot do anything. Prevention is better than cure. You are already aware of that. Okay, so that in organic farming, prevention is the only key element in organic production. Second, identify resources that will help you. In generally very helpful in sharing valuable technical information. Existing farmers will help you in sharing valuable technical information. A good mentor should be able to provide transitional producer with knowledge, practical experience, and suggest appropriate reading materials. Mentors are able to identify some of the most important challenges transitional farmers will be confronted with, because as already they have done, they will be known what were the limitations in producing organic products, how they have to farm the land, how they have to practice, so that they can give good suggestions to the present transitional farmers who are going to convert their conventional farming to organical farming. Okay, mentors may also help source production materials that are otherwise difficult to find. As they don't know that much knowledge about this organic farming, even they face difficulty to find the source materials which would helpful for them, so that these existing organic farmers will help them to find the sources. Producers should also contact agrologists, veterinarians, and other agriculture and financial consultants in order to learn ways to improve their current farming practices. If they meet agrologist, it means agriculturist, they will suggest them to take some suitable measures to farm organic farming as they are in that field. Okay, nowadays internet also plays a very good role to give suggestions to the present organic farmers. Okay, especially to the new organic farmers, this broad range of reading materials and many of the institutions will help to farm their lands accordingly. Next, plan your transition carefully. Here, develop a transitional plan with clear and realistic goals. Everybody will be having a goal after starting a project, right? Like that, even organic farmer will be having a goal to produce the product completely with the help of organic products, with the aim to get profits. Okay, the plan should be clear. For that, the plan should be clearly identify various steps to be taken in making the transition to organic, and to be sure to include realistic time frames. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. Consider ways to address any weakness while building on strengths. Okay, if any problems you are facing, you have to point out that, and you have to write it, and you have to take some certain standards which are required for that to control over that. The business side of the transitional plan should contain a multiple year budget and an effective or realistic marketing strategy. After producing this, definitely they have to market these products. For that, they have to plan accordingly for about the future strategies also. Make sure your list of expenses is comprehensive. Include all dedicated to the organic products and processing equipment. Although the demand of organic products is continually growing, growers need to make sure that they have reliable market for the organic products they plan to produce. Okay, some careful planning is very important here. During the early part of the transitional period, yields are often depressed and premium prices for certified organic products are generally not yet obtainable. Use realistic yields and prices when evaluating the feasibility of your project. In some instances, it is preferable to continue using conventional measures early on in the transitional process in order to avoid dramatic yield reduction, which would jeopardize the financial well-being of the operation. Planning plays a very main role in this transition. Okay, we have to plan each and every situation, every step you have to follow accordingly. Farmers who are planning to convert their livestock operation should consider certifying their fields first. Okay, this allows time to learn about organic livestock management requirements while all the same time starting to produce organic feeds. Although organic certifiers generally want to see the entire farm before become organic, certifiers generally allow new entrants several years of transition time before the whole farm is fully certified. Okay, there will be steps. It was not simple converting transition farm to organic farming, but it will take many years to convert. Mostly it will take 3 years to certify that your field is completely organic. For that, definitely they will be having a standards to recognize that is completely organic. Okay, we have to reach that standards. Parallel production is the simultaneous production, processing or handling of organic and non-organic crops, livestock and other products of a similar nature. Although this type of activity is highly discouraged by certifiers, some allow it, especially during the transition period. If permitted to practice parallel production, producers must be prepared to deal with significant record keeping in order to ensure traceability and organic integrity. Okay, you have to maintain the standards given by them who are going to certify your field. Okay, next, moving to understand your soils and ways to improve them. How is your soil? If you are not going to understand what was the soil condition, you are unable to improve the fertility content of the soil. Since soil is the heart of organic farming system, it is crucial that new entrants understand the various characteristics and limitations of the soil found on their farm. Okay, soil suitability may vary significantly from one field to the next. Fields with good drainage, good level of fertility and organic matter, adequate pH, biological health, higher legume content, and with less weeds and pest pressure are excellent assets. Often these fields are the first ones ready for transition and certification. We have to keep in mind this all the given strategy should be followed. If the soil is free of weeds, it will be good, so that we can easily transform that conventional to organic farming. Many tools exist to assess soils: soil chemical, physical and biological analysis, soil survey and legume competition, field assessments and field yield histories are very important and should be considered early in the transition. Unhealthy soils require particular attention. Okay, it needs a particular attention. If farmers plan to grow crops without raising any livestock, it may be necessary for them to source allowable soil amendments such as composted manure, limestone, rock dust, and supplementary sources of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium and micronutrients. Even with the best crop rotations that include green manure crops like legumes, these legumes will fix nitrogen, okay, in the soil. Transitional growers will be challenged if they want to obtain optimal yields without additional livestock manure, compost, and or other off-farm soil inputs. When these inputs are scarce or expensive, producers may benefit integrating livestock on their farm. Livestock helps organic farming in a very good manner. So include livestock also in organic farming so that it will reduce the more expenses. It means if we have the livestock in our hand, it means on our farm, no need to buy any of the FIM, no need to buy any of the byproducts which come from that waste. It will save the money also. Okay, like that you have to plan accordingly. If farmers plan to produce the organic production, farmers must be able to recycle nutrients through proper nutrient management practices, recycling through good manure, and compost utilizations. Crop rotations, cover crops, which fix the nitrogen and by reducing nutrient losses due to leaching, over fertilization, as well as poor manure and compost management. Okay, this will help the farmers to transform the organic farming, conventional to organic farming easily. Next, going to identify the crops or livestock suited for your situation. It means before growing a crop or raising any livestock in your farm, consider the following: degree of difficulty to grow or raise the product organically, land and soil suitability, climate suitability, level of demand for the product, marketing challenges, capital required, current prices for conventional, transitional and organic products, and profitability over additional workload. Okay, if we are going to plan anything, definitely we will find the resource, right? After that we are going to implement that. Before implementing, we have to check that whether that will be suitable or not, whether our farm conditions will be suitable for that certain crop or not. Okay, accordingly you have to plan. Next one is about design good crop rotations. Once the crops are chosen, carefully plan the crop rotations and select the most suitable cover crops like green manure winter crops or any of the catch crops, smother crops, etc. Okay, crop rotations are extremely important management tools in organic farming. They can interpret pest life cycles, suppress weeds, provide and recycle fertility, and improve soil structure and tilth. Some rotational crops may also be cash crops, generating supplemental income. And on some farms, land-based availability may be limiting factor when planning your crop rotations. Yes, na? The transitional plan should therefore include crop rotation strategies. Responding to external forces such as new market opportunities may also have a significant impact on crop rotations. So, farmers needs to consider the effect that growing new crops has on their crop rotations and land-based availability. Suitable crop rotations will help a farmer to develop good results and to get good results, and also to increase the soil fertility of the soil structure of the soil. Okay, next, identify pest challenges and methods of control. It is important to know the crop's most common pest, their life cycles, and adequate control measures. For instance, Colorado potato beetle may be a pest of significant importance when growing potatoes. Cucumber beetles in cucurbitaceous crop. Flea beetle in many seedling crops. Clipper weevil and Jamish plant bug in strawberry crops. Okay, there are several measures available to reduce pest pressure like crop rotation, variety selection, sanitation, floating row covers, catch crops, flamers, introduction of beneficial insects, biopesticides, and inorganic pesticides. Okay, transitional growers should be prepared to experiment with some of these options. They have to do accordingly, which will give results, good results. Okay, when considering a new type of production, discuss pest issues with your agrologist, take some suggestions from them. IPM specialist and or other existing organic producers to optimize your chances of success. Availability of organic supplies has improved significantly over the past few years. New pest control products containing Bt, spinosad, kaolin clay are effective and currently available to organic growers. It is often reported that types of weeds found on the farm evolve with time as growers change the way they grow their crops and control their weeds. Okay, by keeping track of the weed population, growers will be able to refine their crop rotations and improve the control measures. If we are going to change the crops season to season and period to period, definitely there will be a change in pest incidents in that crops also. Not only in the pest incidents, weeds strength also will be reduced accordingly, so that we have to identify the pest, the cycle and pest related crops. Accordingly we have to find the solutions. Okay, next one, be ready to conduct your own on farm trials. We have to ready for making our own farm trials. By successful organic farmers continuously try new and innovative management practices which improvise their practices in future. Practices such as cover cropping, interplanting and use of various soil and pest control materials need to be evaluated regularly by organic farmers. Be prepared to try new approaches so that we can face many situations and we can fight against them and we can sustain in organic farming. Next, be ready to keep good records. Whatever the application that you have given in your organic farm, keep a record of that so that in future it will be helpful if in case if you are in need. Okay, record keeping is the one of the most important requirements to maintain organic integrity. Farmers are expected to keep detailed production, processing and marketing information. This information includes everything that enters and exits the farm. Third-party independent inspectors require farmers to present the above-mentioned documentation when inspecting the farm operation. Once the record-keeping requirements are understood and the reporting procedure established, paperwork becomes routine. Okay, it was nothing to convert this conventional farming to organic farming, but in this process everything should be recorded for the certification that your land has been completely organic. For that we have to keep records. And the last, you have to avoid some common mistakes, that you should not underestimate the need of good transitional and marketing plans. Okay, we have to have good transitional and marketing plans. You should not take that as it was not that much useful, so that no need to plan accordingly. Okay, you have to plan. There is a need to fully understand the organic standard. Without understanding, you cannot give a 100% organic farm to the certifier, so that your land will not be get certified in a certain period of time. Again, it will take huge time to that. Organic producers must understand the standard in order to know what is permitted and prohibited. Okay, failing to think preventive, transitional farmers should consider improving their crop rotation, soil and crop management skills. Livestock management practices, feeding program, herd health program, grazing systems, housing facilities and husbandry. Okay, these were the basic steps that you have to follow to convert the conventional farming to organic farming. You have to understand that clear. You have to follow all the steps accordingly. If you are not going to plan accordingly, definitely there will be a there will be difficulty to transform your land to organic farm. Okay, next, conversation to organic farming. You have planned everything and you have followed some steps to know about organic farming. Now you have planned to do organic farming. Okay, then you are going to convert that conventional farming to organic farming. There will be 2 steps. Okay, criteria for crop selection during conversion. Okay, full conversion to organic farming. At a time, the farm cannot be converted to organic farming. There will be a transmission period. Okay, in that period, it means it will be of 36 months. Okay, of about 3 years. In that period, you have to select a crop which will be useful to convert the land easily into organic farming. Okay, in that criteria for crop selection during conversion. In the first place, organic farmers should grow enough food for the family. Okay, because they were starting this organic farming at first time, and even a small scale farmers, it means very less, those farmers who are having very less land, they cannot afford the loss if anything happens in between. Okay, so that in first place they have to grow enough food for the family, but they may also want to grow crops for the market to get money for other family needs. The farmer should also grow crops that contribute to increment soil fertility. Farmers who keep livestock need to grow pasture grass and legumes. Okay, basically farmers should select crops with low risk of failure. Cereals and legumes such as maize, sorghum, millets, beans and peas are especially suitable for conversion. Since they cost little to produce, generally have moderate nutrient demands and are robust against pests and diseases. In addition, many of the farmers' crops can be stored and sold in domestic markets. High value short term crops such as most vegetables are more delicate to grow and highly susceptible to pest and disease attack. Therefore, what they have to do, they should not be grown on a large scale unless the farmer can sustain some losses in harvest. If he can afford that losses, he can grow that vegetables also. The crops to grow for sale should include crops that can be sold at their farm gate, okay, at the roadside market, or can be transported directly to nearby markets in urban centers. Choosing the right crop to sell on the market may require some market information. Decision making plays a main role. For crops for local or export market requires detailed information from traders or exporters on the crops, requested varieties, quantities, qualities, regularity and season. So that according to that they have to plan, and they should be communicate with the transporters and the exporters also. Okay, high value perennial crops such as fruit trees take at least 3 years until the first harvest from the date of planting. This makes them appropriate crops for the conversion period. Okay, for new plantation species and varieties must be carefully selected to suit the organic market and production requirements. For conversion of an existing orchard, it might be necessary to replace old existing varieties if they are very susceptible to diseases and the product quality does not match with the market requirements. The success of a crop will also depend on provision of favorable growing conditions. The better a crop variety matches local soil and climate conditions and is tolerant or resistant to common pests and diseases, the better it will grow. Okay, we have to take the crop suitable to that farm, and whether it was can tolerate the pest incidents or any of the climatic conditions. Even in between, if anything happens, the crop should tolerate all the situations. We have to plan accordingly. Okay, it depends, the success of a crop will always depend on the provision of favorable growing conditions. Planting of hedges or other crops and or agroforestry trees can be valuable to help establish a diverse farming systems. Growing leguminous crop, green manures provides nutrients to the soil. Green manures do not provide immediate income, but in the long term they make the soil fertile and productive for the future. Yes, so that we have to plant the leguminous green manure crops. As I said, if the need of organic farming or the motive of organic farming is sustainability for the future generations also, in future also. to increase the soil fertility content. Okay, accordingly we have to select the crops during conversion period. The conversion period is about 36 months, as I said before. It means 3 years. Next one is about full conversion to organic farming. In the third step, implementation of organic practices throughout the entire farm should be considered. Okay, once sufficient experience with different practices has been gained, as soon as organic practices are implemented throughout the entire farm. First of all, they used to farm at the minimum place. Okay, then after getting experience of that, from that they used to start in a large scale. A farmer can claim to be an organic farmer. Okay, commonly consistent application of organic practices marks the beginning of a long process of improving the production system. Improving soil fertility based on the recycling of farm-owned organic materials and enhancement of farm-owned biomass production. Encouraging positive interactions between all parts of the production system to enhance self-regulation of pests and diseases. Optimizing the balance between feed production and livestock. Farming organically also means continuously learning from personal observation, from outside experiences, sharing experiences with other organic farmers, and implementing new information on your farm, making it increasingly more sustainable. Okay, without sharing your experience to others or taking their experience into your account, we cannot succeed in this organic farming, because as it was day by day increasing, nowadays it was many research was going on organic farming. It might take few more days to find good solutions. In that period, you have to build up your own experience in your farms. You have to make trials on your farms. Okay, accordingly you have to plan. Moving to planning and processes in practices. How you are planning and your practice was there in implementing this technology in your farms. Okay, if you are planning on growing and selling organic crops on your farmland, the land must meet following two basic requirements. The land must be free from all prohibited substances on the list for that at least 3 years before the harvest of a crop. For example, prohibited substance on your land, then grow wheat on other land the following year, you cannot sell or market that wheat as organic. Okay, if you start it this year by using organically only, even though previous year you have cultivated in the form of conventional, it means you have used any of the chemicals, you are not supposed to sell this product as the organic. Okay, all land must have distinct defined boundaries and buffer zones in order to prevent any unintended applications of prohibited substances. This rule is important as your land may be sitting right next to land that is not under organic management. Okay, even though the surroundings of your land was not cultivating under organic management, that will be have some buffer zones. It means according to the standards and period, it will be changed to organic. Okay, you have to see that zones also, whether your surroundings have been cultivated through conventional or organic farming. This rule is very important as your land may be sitting right next to the land that is not under organic management. Okay, here if you see soil fertility and crop nutrient management rules. Beyond the basics, producers of organic crops must manage their soil and crop nutrients within the scope of an NOP policy. It means National Organic Program, okay, which is given for many of the organic farmers will be taking the standards of NOP. It means National Organic Program given standards. Accordingly, they will plan and they used to take the conditions given by them, and they will convert their land into organic farming. Whatever they prescribe in that field, they will follow that. Such as, it means Any farm or farm parcel on which harvested crops are grown with the intention of selling, labeling or representing as organic must adhere the land requirements below. It means some of the requirements they have to meet. Okay, let's see what were they. Basic NOP land requirements, what it needs. Okay, the land must be free from all prohibited substances on the national list for at least 3 years before the harvest of a crop. For example, as I said before, if you're not going to, if your land has been cultivated as conventional farming last year and it cannot be sold as organic this year, even though you have cultivated through organic manner. Okay, next one is about soil fertility and crop nutrient management rules. Beyond the basics, producers of organic crops must manage their soil and crop nutrients within the scope of NOP policy. The following are some of those NOP rules. Your tillage and cultivation practices must maintain or improve the physical, chemical and biological conditions of the soil. Soil erosion must be minimized. Okay. Non-chemical methods of soil management such as crop rotation, cover crops and the application of plant and animal materials should be implemented. We have to use plant and animal materials such as raw manure to improve soil conditions. You must do so in such a way that there is no crop, soil or water contamination. Okay, without any contamination of these three things, we have to use the raw manure to improve soil conditions. Any composted plant and animal materials used must be produced with the process by NOP rules in the composting section. Okay, to maintain or to improve soil organic matter, producers may use crop nutrients or soil amendment allowed by the National List of Synthetic Substances. A mined substance of low solubility. Okay, a mined substance of high solubility if the substance is in compliance with the National List of Non-Synthetic Materials, ash from the burning of a plant or animal material, so long as the ash has not been treated or combined with a prohibited substance on the national list or plant or animal material that has been chemically altered, so long as it's good to go on the national list. As you can see that it pays to keep up with the national list. Okay, everything which you are going to use in your farm should be in the national list of non-synthetic materials. Okay, whatever the products that you are going to use in your farm, that should be in the national list of non-synthetic materials. Producers may not use sewage sludge on the land. Okay, farmers who are going to use converting their land, they should not use any of the sewage sludge on the land. Okay, next if we see about seeds and planting stock standards given by NOP, it has various seed and stock rules in place that must be followed in order to keep your land compliant. Okay, NOP seed rules are somewhat complicated because while you are supposed to use organic seeds on your land, there are exceptions to the rule. Okay, when it comes to planting stock used for organic crops, the organic stock is recommended by NOP, but like an organic seed, you don't absolutely have to use organic stock if none is available and if you have made a good faith effort to locate organic stock. If you cannot find commercially available plant stock, you are allowed to use non-organically produced planting stock to produce a perennial organic crop. Okay, it was not necessary to do a naturally provided stock. Okay, organic stock. If it was not, you have kept every effort of yours and even though you haven't found any of the organic stock, then you can grow any of the stock, non-organic stock also, for a perennial crops only, but only after the stock has been maintained under a system of organic management for a period of 1 year or more. Okay, at least 1 year it should be under organic management. One of the most important rules to pay attention to here is that only organically produced seeds can be used if you are producing edible sprouts. Okay. If there are any doubts, you can ask me in between also. I will answer that. Okay. Next, moving to NOP crop rotation rules. As an organic producer, you need to implement a crop rotation plan, including but not limited to certain extents. Okay. Cover crops, green manure crops, and catch crops. Crop rotation on the organic farm must apply to the operation for maintaining or improving soil organic matter content. Pest management, management of deficient or excess plant nutrients, and help to control erosion. Next, NOP rules on pest and disease management standards. A proper integrated pest management system is important on the organic farm and is another NOP land requirement. Producers need a good IPM in order to control and help prevent crop pests, weeds and diseases. NOP allows the following pest and disease practices. Okay, for controlling pest and disease in the field, there will be alternate of chemical uses like crop rotation and soil and crop nutrient management practices, sanitation measures that remove disease vectors, weed seeds and habitat for pest organisms, cultural practices that enhance crop health. This may include choosing the right selection of plant species for your area and choosing plant varieties with built-in resistance to prevalent pests, weeds and diseases. Okay, you have to maintain the cultural practice that enhance crop health. Mechanical or physical pest control such as the introduction of predators or parasites of the pest species or proper development of the habitat for natural enemies of pests and non-synthetic control such as lures, traps and repellents. You are not going to use any of the synthetic chemicals while you are following the NOP standards for organic farming. You should only use mechanical methods like or physical methods, predators, parasites, pest species only. Mulching with fully biodegradable materials, mowing, synthetic mulches, livestock grazing, hand weeding and mechanical cultivation such as flame, heat or electrical means are all allowed for weed control. Okay, if weedicides are not allowed here, only biodegradable materials are allowed. Application of non-synthetic biological, botanical or mineral inputs are allowed to apply in the field. Biological or botanical substances are a substance included on the national list of synthetic substances allowed for use in organic crop production can be done. Okay, if all methods above fail to control pest, weeds or disease, so long as you document why such methods are needed in your organic system plan. Okay, for this you have to control and to restrict the use of synthetic chemicals in organic farming. Okay, these are all the NOP standards that which you are going to follow in your organic farming conversion periods. Okay, these were the process that you have to implement. Let's see IFS approach, integration of animal components. Okay, what is meant by IFS? Do you know what is meant by IFS? Yes. Okay, let's see this. The concept of sustainability is an important element in the development of integrated systems. IFS is nothing but integrated farming system. The main goals of this, let's see what was its main goal. Maximization of yield of all component enterprises to provide steady and stable income, rejuvenation or amelioration of systems productivity and achieve agroecological equilibrium, avoid buildup of insect pest, diseases and weed population through natural cropping system management and keep them at low level of intensity, reducing the use of chemicals to provide chemical free healthy produce and environment to the society. Okay, these were the main goals of integrated farming system. And the concept of sustainable agriculture holds special position as in the system nothing is wasted. The byproduct of one system becomes the input for other. Sustainable development in agriculture must include integrated farming system with efficient soil, water crop and pest management practices which are environmentally friendly and cost effective. Integrated farming systems are often less risky if managed efficiently. So we have to use that in a particular manner. The benefit from synergy among enterprises, diversity produce environmental soundness. So that moreover, based on the principle of enhancing natural biological process above and below the ground, the integrated system is the combination that reduces erosion, increases crop yield, soil biological activity and nutrient recycling, which also helps in efficient use of water, reduces pests and diseases. It intensifies land use, improving profits, and can therefore help reduce poverty and malnutrition and strengthen environmental sustainability. I think you have got an idea about integrated farming system. Here we are going to include many of the enterprises at one place, which would be the income for farmers. Okay, and also it helps to reduce the chemical buying expenses. Okay, the products of these enterprises will be, the waste of the one enterprises will be used as product for the another substances. Okay, let's see advantage of integrated farming system. It increase productivity through economic yield per unit area per time by virtue of intensification of crop and allied enterprises. It improves profitability achieved mainly by way of reduced cost due to recycling of waste of one enterprise as energy inputs for other systems. As I said before, we have these were the advantages of integrated farming system. And recycling of organic waste reduces requirement of chemical fertilizer. Further, biogas production can meet household energy requirement. Thus, IFS goes a long way in solving energy crisis. Overall benefit of IFS is improved standard of living of the farmer because of the products like edible mushroom, fruits, eggs, milk, honey, vegetables, etc. These we can see in common, but many of the things that we cannot see were also helpful for farmer in this integrated farming system. What were the components in IFS? IFS include agriculture along with the fish farming, horticulture, decorating, forestry, pigeon rearing, apiary, mushroom cultivation, sericulture, azolla farming, dairy, kitchen gardening. These were the components of IFS. Let's see elements of integrated farming system. Depending upon the resources available and on your interest and opportunities, you can build your own elements in your farm. For example, watershed, farm ponds, biopesticides, biofertilizer plants, okay, plant products as pesticides. These were the some elements that you can include in the integrated farming system. According to the land that you had, it means if you are having a wetland, you're going to raise rice crop, along with that fishery can be made, along with that poultry can be made by in a certain place which has been held for that. Due to that, along with that, you can sell the fishes after some period of time, so that farmer can get income in between the period of selling that product of main agriculture. Okay, then after that you can also sell the eggs of hens, and after reaching the certain period of time you can sell that hens also, so that income will be getting for farmers, and the waste of fish and hens can be used as fertilizer in the rice field directly, so that you can minimize the cost of chemical usage, and you can also reduce the usage of chemicals, which also helps to maintain the sustainability of the crops. This was about integrated farming system. Okay, Thank you. And now I am going to put some questions about the today's topic. Comment in the comment section. If you are having any doubts regarding today's topic, you can ask me so that I will clear your queries. Thank you. Here are your questions. First one, mention organic farming in one line. Mention what is organic farming in one line. Second question, how much time it will require to convert the land into organic farming? How much time it will require to convert the land into organic farming? Third question, mention some strategies of IFS. Mention some strategies of IFS. Fourth question, what was the concept of IFS? What was the main concept of IFS? What were the elements in IFS? What were the elements in IFS? Okay. Thank you so much.